accept this. They will go away. The people will stay. The people will stay. The people will stay. The people will confront the people. I am not talking, and I'm talking at the time where the site is being bombarded, and I am not scared of death. I'm not scared of death. I'm not thinking of life. I'm thinking of doing the duty. Your country, you are here in your country, and the aggression is there. The aggression is coming to you. You have to do your business, and you have to do your mission. You have to go in millions.
Well, it's a very angry-sounding Colonel Gaddafi. We're told that that's live on Libyan state television. Of course, we've got no way of verifying that, but that speech underway right now. What we'll do is stay across it with our translation, and we'll bring you anything of note that Colonel Gaddafi says a little later here on the News Hour. In the meantime, Libyans, of course, certainly used to the idea of arbitrary arrests and detentions, thanks to Colonel Gaddafi's regime. But under the Transitional National Council, at least in the northeast of the country, all that was supposed to stop. But it seems it hasn't. Vigilante groups in the rebel-held city of Benghazi are now patrolling the streets looking for Gaddafi supporters. And when they find them, some take the law into their own hands. Sue Turton reports.
Jama Al-Fijani was there at the very start of the uprising. His cups of liberation tea for those who joined the struggle are legendary here. He was often seen alongside the Vice President once the Transitional National Council began to take shape. But a week ago, he disappeared. Outside his Benghazi apartment, his neighbours explained how his family had called because they were worried about him. So they'd headed up to his home to check he was okay.
Mr. Fijani had been missing for 4 days when his friends bashed through his front door and found him here, lying on the carpet, already dead in a pool of blood. They're convinced he was killed by members of the Fifth Column because he had such a high-profile position within the opposition.
Right from the beginning of the uprising on the 15th of February, he was always at the courthouse. He made the tea, and he was always up on the stage. Everything he did was related to this, even painting flags of the UK, France and Qatar.
There are signs of a struggle. Bullet holes can be seen in the doors and walls. The place has been turned upside down. It's murders like this one that have led to vigilante groups springing up all over Benghazi. Armed local men patrolling the streets on the lookout for Gaddafi loyalists. This group said anyone they apprehend is sent directly to the authorities. But others are taking the law into their own hands. Colonel Abdullah Futmani was a senior figure in Gaddafi's interior security service. He was gunned down in the street 4 days ago after praying at the mosque. His family, who had gathered to mourn his death, said he had defected and was supporting the opposition. That's why he was targeted by Gaddafi loyalists. These people lived for decades in a society where arbitrary arrests and detention were common. The Transitional National Council risks damaging its reputation as a transparent, legitimate authority if this slide back to the regime's old ways isn't stopped in its tracks. Sue Turton, Al Jazeera, Benghazi.
Let's take you back now to Yemen. Rebel tribal fighters and army troops exchanged gunfire in the southern Yemeni city of TAIZ today. We've received these latest pictures. Now, a shell fired by a tank near the presidential palace apparently landed in a nearby residential area. Reports are that 4 people, including 3 children, were killed. It's not clear whether at the moment there were any other injuries. The violence adds to fears of growing instability in the country. On the line now from Sana'a, the capital, Mohammed Al-Qadi, foreign correspondent for the Abu Dhabi-based national newspaper. Mohammed, good to talk to you again. Before we talk about the situation in TAIZ, what's happening right now there in Sana'a?
In Sana'a now it is calm compared with the last few days. On the war zone between the tribal leaders and the government. The committee from the government was supposed to go to the field today to remove the troops from there and also the militants, but it was not there according to tribal sources. Right now, there are about more than 2,000 protesters. They are protesting in front of the house of the acting president. They are demanding him to establish a national transitional governing council. They are saying this is the second objective of the revolution after the departure of Saleh. And they have given him an ultimatum to announce this within 24 hours. Hundreds of those protesters, they have decided to have a sit-in there and to stay near the house of the acting president.
Okay, and briefly, what are your sources telling you about the situation in TAIZ?
The situation in TAIZ is very terrible. I have talked to the people there. Gunfire and shelling continued overnight and until early this morning. And according to the sources, that 3 civilians were killed and also 10 were injured, including children and women, because the Republican Guards, they have been using mortars and also tanks and shelling the areas randomly after the clashes with some gunmen in front or close to the presidential palace there in the town. They have also warned of this situation, and some thousands of people have started fleeing the city because of this low security situation, and because also the government has some gunmen. They are looting and they are doing some kind of some of these acts, and they are claiming that these are the gunmen supporting the protesters.
Yeah.
Also, one important issue is also the health situation. People have complained, and medics have warned of a health disaster in the city if the government doesn't move and remove the rubbish as well as the sewage in the streets.
Okay. Mohammed, as always, really appreciate you coming on to update us. Many thanks indeed. Mohammed Al-Qadi there from Abu Dhabi's The National newspaper. He's in Sana'a. A few moments ago, we dipped into that speech that Libya's Colonel Gaddafi was giving on Libyan state television. We heard 20, 30 seconds of it. Let's get back to Benghazi. Al Jazeera's Cal Perry is there and was listening in to most of it. What did Colonel Gaddafi say?
Well, this was an audio message directed at the people of Benghazi. Gaddafi saying he welcomed death, that he welcomed martyrdom. We've seen a concerted campaign. We started the hour by talking about this in the capital of Tripoli, a daylight bombing run by NATO. This could be seen as a sign of desperation. I think that this bombing raid has really led to what comes down to a proof of life audio message from a man who takes pride in being seen in public. The last time we saw him in public, Adrian, was May the 31st when the South African president was in Tripoli. But for a man who takes pride in television cameras to put out an audio message, perhaps, again, a state of desperation, he's called on people in Tripoli to go to his personal compound. I don't think that's going to play very well with NATO. Certainly, I think the idea of human shields being created in the capital is something that people are going to frown upon, obviously, Adrian.
Not being an aficionado of Colonel Gaddafi's speeches, was it the usual eccentric rambling that we're told that he's well known for? I mean, he sounded pretty angry to me.
Yeah, it was eccentric rambling, but again, it bordered on this need to prove that he was alive, and this is the first time I think we've really seen that in months. He's openly had press spreads and had the media on some of the recent diplomatic visits to Tripoli, but today has really been the first day that we've seen a concerted campaign by NATO. We've seen in the past some NATO airstrikes in Tripoli, but we haven't seen airstrikes hour after hour from low-flying aircraft over the capital. And I think one thing that Colonel Gaddafi is worried about is that he's relied, as you sort of allude to there, on being such an eccentric figure in front of the camera, in being constantly sort of in the eyes of Libya, that now he's being perceived as a man who's under fire, a man who's on the run, a man who's going bunker to bunker. And this first audio message, I think, is sort of a new chapter in Gaddafi's life, because he's certainly, I think, under the pressure of not only a rebel advance on the ground less than 100 kilometers away, but now this concerted NATO campaign of bombing that seems to continue throughout the day in Tripoli, Adrian.
Cal, many thanks indeed. Cal Perry reporting live there from Benghazi.